Hello everyone, JSGC here. Yes, still away from my normal background, but we'll be back there soon, don't worry about that. But we're here for a Manchester City transfer update. Now, we've already moved on from the Spurs and VAR stuff, wanted to put a little bit more positivity out there, so I thought we've got some news stories, we'll do a transfer update. So before we crack on with the video, remember, some ins and outs in this video by the way, remember, make sure you subscribe, press that red button, press your bell, put your push notifications on, aiming for 5,000 subscribers. We're less than 200 away. Any help towards that would be much appreciated. Make sure also, if you're interested, you can go check out my social media links, my Twitter and Instagram. You can find them in the description below and popping up on screen if you want to go and follow me on there. Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below because I'm always interested in what you do have to say. And also leave a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. So we're going to crack on with the ins first, and I'm going to be speaking about former Manchester City player Jadon Sancho. He's been linked with the exit door at Borussia Dortmund. This is for next summer. Manchester United and Manchester City are getting linked, of course. Man United don't have any scouts, just use the players that City are interested in and then pay more. That is their philosophy. This might well be another player that is one of them. Now, he's valued at somewhere between 100 and 150 million pounds, perhaps a similar fee to what City have valued Leroy Sane at this summer. Now, he's a former academy player, obviously, at Manchester City. Manchester City will want a Leroy Sane replacement if he does leave Manchester City, so yeah. Borussia Dortmund, they're smart, they'll know this, they'll want a bidding war between Man United and Man City, they'll ask for more from City because they know they want a replacement for Leroy Sane, they'll ask for more from Manchester United too because Man United like paying more, so of course you'd ask for more when Man United come calling. It'd be a difficult transfer for Man City to get done, but it's unclear as to whether Man City might hold an advantage in this transfer. I say this because he's a former Manchester City player, he wasn't sold by Manchester City, that is very important, he wasn't sold, he left for free. Compensation was agreed for Jadon Sancho to go to Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund had to pay Man City a compensation fee. It wasn't a fee up front with Manchester City, so I'm not too sure if there is any kind of clause in the contract at Borussia Dortmund, and people have been speaking about buybacks. As far as I'm aware, there isn't a buyback. I could be wrong, but I don't think there is a buyback clause here. Man City might have an option. There's quite a few youngsters that have left Man City. They might have an option that if Jadon Sancho leaves Borussia Dortmund, City have the chance possibly to be able to match that bid, or Man City might have first dibs on Jadon Sancho, so Borussia Dortmund wish to sell. So if Dortmund want to sell and the name and City come call and name the price, they'll have to talk to Man City first before they talk to other clubs. I don't know if that is in place. Often it is with youngsters, because he's not being sold by Manchester City, the deal, it's extremely complicated and it's unclear as to whether there is any buyback clause or any clauses at all in his contract or not. Of course, you had Raheem Sterling tweeting about it when Jadon Sancho did well for England, saying Agent Raz is on the phone here asking for a buyback clause. Adding to the banter, I have absolutely no idea, but it is one of them developing transfers that we'll keep an eye on, and if Leroy Sane is indeed leaving Manchester City, Jadon Sancho would make sense for a replacement. I'll keep my eyes peeled on that. Now we'll move on to a new player that City have been getting linked with. He's called Eduardo Camavinga from Rennes. Now he's a French 16-year-old midfielder. Played this Sunday in a Ligue 1 match between Paris Saint-Germain and Rennes. Rennes ended up winning the game 2-1, shocked PSG, and he was one of the standout players. Just 16 years old, a midfielder. Apparently City, Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur are also interested in him according to the Daily Mail. 16 years old, playing well against PSG. If he has a big season ahead of him, I imagine there'll be a lot of interest there, and being just 16 years old, could well come with a big fee, but it won't be too big because I won't imagine he's on a full professional contract, but don't quote me on that. Now we'll move on to the outs now and we'll speak about Leroy Sane. The saga goes on. Manchester City, for his upcoming injury that Leroy Sane has got for his surgery, they wanted an operation on his knee. They wanted that done in Barcelona. Last week, Pep Guardiola said that he'll be going to Dr. Cugat over in Barcelona to go and have his operation. Instead, Leroy Sane's decided to go to Innsbruck in Austria to go and see Dr. Fink, who sounds a lot like Professor Frink coming in from The Simpsons. It isn't him, by the way. But, yeah, he's headed over to Austria instead to go and have his operation, which has been successfully done now, which is good news. However, it's just an ongoing list of things that's been done to purposely, possibly annoy Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. Now, when Pep Guardiola tells you that you're having an operation, you're going to Mr. Reliable in Barcelona in Dr. Cugat, you go. Benjamin Mendy's gone. I think De Bruyne has gone before. Numerous players have gone. Leroy Sane seems to think that he is an exception to the rule. Now, he's gone over to Austria because it's the same doctor that the German national team use. Leroy Sane extremely disappointed and upset to have missed out on Germany's World Cup squad. That is evident. He was questioned over his attitude from their manager. So he wants a place in the Euro 2020 spot. Now, he sees himself as picking up this injury that possibly he might not get into the Germany Euro 2020 spot. So where Leroy Sane goes from here, it will be interesting. But at the end of the day, Leroy Sane is a Manchester City player. He's injured. When City and the coaching staff and a manager like Pep Guardiola, one of, if not the best manager in the world, tells you that you go somewhere to rehabilitate and help you recover quickly so you can stand a chance to play more games for City, which ultimately will lead to him, if he does well, playing for Germany at the Euro 2020 Championships next summer, then you surely would go and do that, wouldn't you? Now, he's gone and had his operation. It's been successful, which is good news, but they're using the same doctor from the German national team that Bayern Munich also like doing. That's where the speculation's coming from, and it's going to upset Manchester City a little bit. Where do we go with the Leroy Sane saga here? Because once he's recovered, like when you're purposely ignoring your manager, why would he pick you? Leroy Sane's got players to compete with. Riyad Mahrez now is ahead of him in the pecking order. He's got Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling to compete with too. And it's almost like Leroy Sane doesn't want to take up that challenge. I mean, Sane's good enough to compete with these players and get their spot, but it's almost like he doesn't want to. Like he has some divine right here to be playing for Germany, to come into a squad, be starting every single game, and that's just not how it is. Now, I could be, batting down the wrong lane here, and perhaps Leroy Sane is just unsettled in Manchester and wants to, he's a little bit homesick, understandable, and he wants to leave and go to Bayern Munich. But if that was the case, why didn't he just say he wanted to leave Manchester City? We could have been negotiating. I mean, City wanted £130 million, but that's because it's so late in the window that Bayern Munich was stepping up their interest. If they'd negotiated all summer, I'm convinced they'd have been able to have picked him up for around £100 million, which perhaps Bayern Munich were willing to pay, perhaps they weren't. But if they were willing to pay, surely that would have been what was best. All he had to do was say to City, I want to leave. I don't know what to make of the whole situation. I mean, Bayern Munich aren't interested in signing Leroy Sane for the remainder of this summer. That's been confirmed from sources both at City and at Bayern Munich. It's also been reported that Bayern Munich is set to, I think they might even have announced a couple of signings actually. They've signed Ivan Perisic, brought in from Inter Milan on loan. He's a wide player. And they've also signed Countinho on loan with an option to sign him for roughly just over £100 million next summer. So they're spending some money, particularly on wages. I presume they're covering the wages of these players, which all but rules out Leroy Sane signing for Bayern Munich this summer. And it all depends on how his rehabilitation goes for him, whether he'll sign for Bayern Munich into the winter window. I mean, if he's out for 6-7 months, then he's not going to be signing for Bayern Munich in January either. It's a messy situation that could have been handled a lot better from Leroy Sane's end. Perhaps it could have been handled better from City's end. It certainly could have been handled a lot better from the Bayern Munich end. And it's ended up forcing the hand that City don't want to sell Leroy Sane, not to Bayern Munich with the way everything's been handled. I mean, Bayern Munich were very close to being reported for tapping up our players and constantly speaking about our players. Leaves a bitter taste in the mouth, but it's one for me now to keep an eye on to see what's happening with Leroy Sane. But I wouldn't say Leroy Sane is exactly flavour of the month at Manchester City at this moment in time. But when you've got a manager like Pep Guardiola and you're purposely undermining him, yeah, I'd be surprised if we see Leroy Sane in a Man City shirt anytime soon, if I'm completely honest. Anyway, still got more stories. We'll talk about Fernandinho now. A Turkish source was saying that Fenerbahce are trying to bring in Fernandinho before the end of their transfer deadline day. That was coming from a source in Istanbul over in Turkey. It's an ambitious move targeting Fernandinho, but personally, it's a no-go. Fernandinho, way too valuable by Manchester City to be sold. City won't get much of a fee for Fernandinho. We don't have much to gain, only a lot to lose. And Pep loves Fernandinho, a versatile player, covering us at centre-back, can play defensive midfield, play anywhere across the back line. In fact, he'll play literally just about anywhere. A hard worker, a good tough tackler, perhaps a tactical fouler too, but he knows the Premier League. It's vital. He's a vital player for Man City this season. For the fee being so small, I fail to see what's to be gained by Man City selling him. And after all, City, the transfer window over here for the summer's shut, so we can't sign any replacements, and we're not going to go without Fernandinho from now until January. I just found it an ambitious move from Fenerbahce and something for us to talk about. Now, last but not least in the news, another interesting story. The Sun were reporting that Claudio Bravo will leave Manchester City after the 2019-2020 season has been completed. It's reported that his contract is up and Manchester City apparently have no plans to renew his deal. I mean, City could change their minds in the coming months. An Edison injury and all of a sudden Bravo playing a few games and doing well. I mean, he's done well in pre-season and in the Community Shield, that City might well look to extend his contract. But I'm not sure. We've loaned out to Aro Muric. Of course, he's out at Nottingham Forest. That isn't done for him to be third choice. He's been done here to see how he does in the Championship. He does well at Nottingham Forest, then he may well come in and be Manchester City's new backup goalkeeper, Man City's new number 2 for next season. Of course, he won't be taking up a non-homegrown spot. It allows Man City an option, more importantly here, for a non-homegrown slot to come available, and City could then look to sign perhaps not a goalkeeper, but a player of another position. I mean, you shouldn't be taking up 2 spots in the non-homegrown quota for goalkeepers. It's needless. There's lots of good quality homegrown players already at Manchester City. Muric and Grimshaw, for example. Lots of good quality English players out there. Players like Scott Carson that we brought in, that we could use that spot that Bravo takes up and sign somebody else. For example, a centre-back, a Vincent Kompany replacement that we've currently not got in the squad at this moment in time because overpriced homegrown centre-backs like Harry Maguire are just too expensive and English clubs demand just too much money. If Leroy Sane leaves, they could sign another winger, 100 to 150 million pounds for Jadon Sancho, homegrown player. City could well sign a good quality player for the 50, 60 million pounds, bringing in someone from Spain. They know they don't have to negotiate. So it makes sense. I can believe that one to be true. Love to know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts of all them transfer deals in the comments below. Like I said before, leave a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell. Put your push notifications on. We'll have more transfer updates coming out throughout the rest of August, of course. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll have previews coming up for the games. Of course, we're looking for that response to that Tottenham game, for the Bournemouth game coming up this weekend. Previewing and analysing that towards the weekend. So stay tuned for that. We've got plenty more content coming up. So I'll see you all again very soon. Don't forget, Twitter and Instagram in description below and popping up on screen too. And I'll see you all again for the next video. So it's been JSGC. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now.